What's going on, everybody? I'm Jory Goodman, the Time Teller. Welcome to the first installment of my State of the Collection 2020. Now, guys, there's going to be a whole lot of watches in this series, particularly in this episode. So if there's a watch that you're interested in, maybe you want a follow-up episode on a certain watch, comment in the comment section. I read all your comments, and maybe I can do kind of a follow-up review on some of these watches. So yeah, whole bunch of watches we're going to go over. So buckle up, maybe grab a snack and let me know which watches you liked, which watches you don't like, and yeah, which watches you want to see more of. It's 11:30 a.m. Let's get down to business. Okay guys, wow, this is very, very intimidating for me, and I own all these watches, so I can't even imagine how you feel. I'm just kidding. Seriously though, this is just craziness because this is just part one of the State of the Collection series, so I figured I'd kick it off with my current favorite genre of wristwatch. Field watches. They're tough, they're durable, they go anywhere and everywhere you want to go. They're typically flat, they lay out of the way, they won't get hung up on gear, they can take a good knock. They're just such a cool, versatile genre of watch, and I'm very happy to say this episode, the part one of the State of the Collection series, is sponsored by Wrist Candy Watch Club. Okay, I've been wearing Wrist Candy Watch Club straps since long before they decided to sponsor this channel, but I'm very happy they decided to sponsor us because I really do like their products and I'm very excited to share them with my viewers. My current favorite are these two-piece nylon straps. They're tough, they're durable, they don't fray, the stitching is nice and tidy, and they have enough extra material to be tucked back behind the keepers like they should. I can't tell you how many times I find two-piece NATO straps and they are just too short for my 7.5-inch wrist. I have to end up cutting them. It's just super duper frustrating. So Wrist Candy Watch Club, a bunch of great dudes with a bunch of great straps, and yeah, www.wristcandywatchclub.com. Go there, check them out, and tell them the Time Teller sent you. Alrighty, so as I pull from this massive pile of watches here before me, I figured that we can go ahead and start with literally the beginning of my watch collecting journey. This is my first ever automatic watch that I've ever owned. It was given to me by my dad when I was 8 years old, and it happens to be a field watch, so maybe this kind of sparked my love for the field watch genre. I don't know. It's an LL Bean Dial Hamilton field watch, RAF limited edition 9721. It's an automatic with an ETA movement. It's not on a strap currently because it needs to go in for service. If I shake it up, it will start ticking, but it doesn't keep time very well. You know, I wore this on a military bun strap actually when I was little, and I beat the crap out of it. And yeah, it stood the test of time for the most part. I mean, it's still running, but it lost a lot of time throughout the years. So I don't know. It's a tough watch. It's a really nice looking watch. I'm probably going to put a new crystal on it, and I'm probably going to have TikTok Watch Repairs fix the movement. But yeah, absolutely love this watch. When I get it back, you bet I'm going to be wearing this a whole lot. So this not only is my first automatic watch, and it's super special because it was given to me by my dad, it's also a field watch, so it deserves to be kicking off this episode. Moving on to another Hamilton field watch in my collection. That's right, this was also given to me by my parents, I think for my 28th birthday, and I actually reviewed it here at the Time Teller channel when I got it, but this is the Hamilton Khaki Field Mechanical 38mm. This one has the ETA movement, okay? So this one has the high beat movement before they went to their in-house caliber. So this doesn't have as big of a power reserve. I don't think this has the 80-hour power reserve that I think the H10 movement has, but this has the nicer sweep, and that's what I like to look at. Come on, honestly. A longer power reserve, probably much more functional. This is just much more pleasant to look at. There's a lot that I love about this watch. First of all, drilled lugs. I mean, come on, switching out straps is a breeze, very old school. That's very nice to see on a field watch. I love the patinated indexes and hands. Some people absolutely hate that. I think it's really cool. I love the matte black dial, the 24-hour markings. This just screams old school military field watch. You know, I've said it a million times. The Submariner is the quintessential watch when we're thinking of a dive watch. That's like the most iconic dive watch, arguably. Well, this is the Submariner of field watches, okay? When you think field watch, you think Hamilton field watch, and this is like the purest form of it. Sapphire crystal, lays incredibly flat on the wrist, hand wind movement, no frills, no bells and whistles. It's just amazing, and I love it. So you know what I thought would be fun? We could look at those two classic field watches and move on to something much, much more modern. Now, I have a whole slew of Boldr field watches here. This is my personal Boldr Expedition Everest. This is the first version of the Boldr Expedition, and in my opinion, the best iteration of that series. Yeah, this is in no way a classic field watch, but it is so, so cool and incredibly functional. So you'll notice two crowns, right? Kind of has a super compressor look to it, but it's not technically a diver. This was listed as a field watch, and there's a bunch of little attributes that really scream outdoors, hiking around. First would be the compass, okay? So that's actuated by the secondary crown, and it's actually threaded. Okay, so no water is getting in here through that crown. You can go ahead, aim that wherever you need to aim that, and I actually made an episode explaining how to use your watch as a compass. Click up here and check it out. But yeah, you can go ahead, thread that up so it's not going to move around, so you always have a true indicator of where you need to go. Obviously, the secondary, or I should say the primary crown, is also threaded, and that actuates the date and the time. You'll notice a very, very nice sweep here because this is powered by a Sellita SW201 automatic movement, Swiss movement in this bad boy. And I'm going to show you a shot without the NATO strap, but this has one of the coolest display case backs, has like a topographical map design there, and it's just such a nice detail for a modern field watch. Of course, sapphire crystal. I believe it does have an anti-reflective coating, although we're going to get some glare from the lights, obviously. And dude, this is just such a cool looking dynamic watch. The indexes pop off that blue dial. Everything is where it needs to be. It looks very tidy. Yes, it does look modern, but not super crazy. It's just a nice kind of contrast and interesting juxtaposition between modern and classic. And yeah, I just really, really like this watch. And I like that kind of splash of orange playing against this Wrist Candy Watch Club strap. This is one of my go-to field watches, and yeah, I'm very happy I learned about this company. All right, so moving away from that Boldr Expedition, let's actually take a look at a Boldr Expedition. That's right, this is also a Boldr Expedition, but this is the version 2 Mount Sinai. Now, I actually made an episode comparing this one to the original, and I gotta say, I prefer the original, but I don't dislike this one at all, of course, because I own one in my collection. But, you know, they got rid of that compass bezel, and they're utilizing more of a timing bezel. Still retains the threaded crowns, primary and secondary, still retains that Swiss Sellita movement, so you're getting a nice sweep. Date complication. What's interesting is I do not like 4 o'clock crowns, but they've done it very well on both of those watches. And again, the contrast between that black and that orange just looks so, so cool. This is like Connie's favorite on my wrist. Every time I wear this watch, Connie comments on it. She loves it. And it's a really tough watch. I actually wore this to Lake Tahoe, got it really cold, got it wet, bumped it around, and yeah, handled it perfectly. Look at that sapphire crystal. Very, very nice. Another thing they got rid of on this iteration is it doesn't have the display case back. It has an engraving back there. I think I prefer the display case back, but honestly, having a metal case back is probably more durable, so I understand why they chose to get rid of that display case back on the back there. But very cool watch, love that coating. Again, I've scuffed this up, or I've tried to, and there's pretty much no markings on it at all. So very durable coating, very durable crystal, just an all-around tough, tough watch. Exactly what you'd expect from Boldr. Man, they make some incredible field watches, and I'm happy. Again, so happy I learned about that company. And by the way, because I know I'm gonna get a bunch of questions, this is a crown and buckle chocolate American-made series single-piece NATO. They call it a NATO strap, although I think it's technically a Zulu. I don't know, but I love it because the more it ages, the nicer it looks. And yeah, I'm gonna get a bunch of questions about that. All right, moving on to the final Boldr in my collection. This is the Boldr Venture. Now, if you recall, I've actually reviewed 2 different Boldr Ventures on this channel. The first one was quartz. It used, I believe, a Ronda quartz movement. And my biggest complaint was that the second hand was not matching up to the indexes, and I absolutely hate that. Now, if you look at this second hand, you'll see it's sweeping away fairly smoothly, and that's because this is their automatic variant. Now, this Boldr was given to me by Boldr, and I'm keeping it because I absolutely love it. Solid titanium case, about a 38mm diameter, so pretty comparable to my khaki, my Hamilton khaki field watch, and a 44.1mm lug to lug. This wears on the wrist so easily, and again, it's so light, being titanium, that it is just a breeze to wear when you're hiking around, or when you're, in your Jeep or camping or whatever you're doing. This is just such a functional field watch, and you'll notice the NH35 movement that this does use should have a date complication, but they chose to get rid of it, and I really like that. Kind of tidies up the dial, no bells, no whistles, a field watch, just bare bones, but kind of a modern take on a classic field watch, because again, it is solid titanium, kind of an interesting modern case shape. Patented indexes though, some people will hate that. I tend to like that contrast. Very vibrant, bright dial being white, very visible, very legible. You're retaining those 24-hour markings, threaded crown, 200-meter water resistance rating, just like the Boldr Expeditions that you just saw. So a really tough, durable watch in a small package, and I really like it, man. I'm a huge fan, and just to nip this in the bud right now, everyone asks what my favorite micro brand is. It's gotta be Boldr, and they're not paying me to say that. All right, moving on to a Seiko. The first Seiko I'm going to share with you in this whole State of the Collection episode, or series, I should say. This is one of my favorite watches in my entire collection, and I've said before, this is probably one of the most impressive watches in my entire collection, and it's because out of every single watch I own, out of the Rolexes, the Cartier, the JLC, I own a Vacheron, all these expensive watches, this watch that is really not that expensive gets the most compliments every time I wear it, okay? Crazy, and that just goes to show price doesn't have a whole lot to do with anything. So I absolutely love this watch because of everything that it does. You're going to see this watch mentioned in the chronograph episode of this series as well. This is the Seiko SSC 081 Solar Chronograph Compass. Of course, it is a chronograph. One of my favorite parts about this watch is when the chronograph stops and you reset it, does a really cool sweep. Another really special thing about this watch is that it was given to me by Connie when we first started dating. And so this really holds a special place in my heart because every time I wear it, it reminds me of her. And yeah, I'm deeply in love with her. So of course, I absolutely love this gift from her. Has a date complication, multiple alarm functions, 100-meter water resistance rating. It is solar powered right now. I have it on a man cave leather rally strap because it is a chronograph. It's going to help my wrist breathe there. But technically, this is a field watch utilizing that secondary crown as a compass. Very, very cool. Such a tough watch, such a functional watch. Not incredibly expensive, but such immense bang for buck. Man, love this watch. And it looks great on a bunch of straps. I've worn this on NATO straps. I've worn this on Cordura straps. This is, again, Man Cave Leather strap that was given to me by Man Cave Leather. Love those guys over there. But so much to look at. Some people might say it's a bit too busy. I just absolutely love this watch. Has running seconds over here by the 9 o'clock register. Has some nice crown guards. Just a really, really, really cool watch. Next up, another Seiko field watch, the Seiko Sarbo 17 Alpinist. A lot of people don't like that green dial, but we don't like those people because it's beautiful. A lot of people don't think of the Seiko Alpinist as a field watch, but it is, guys. It was made for people to go explore in the mountains. I get it. It's elegant. It's beautiful. It's refined. Thou shalt not get it dirty. No way. We get it dirty. We scratch them up. We wear them because watches are meant to be worn, especially when we're looking at field watches. Look at that green dial, how it plays so nicely with this Barton sailcloth strap. Shout out to the boys at Barton for sending me this strap. I love it. Man, incredible lume, but we expect that from Seiko with that proprietary LumiBrite. I love those gold indexes and how they pop off of that sunburst green dial. I love that date wheel, how it's black and it doesn't really, it's not like an eyesore on the dial. It's not like you have this beautiful dial and then there's this white blob there. It's just beautifully done. I love how the case almost wears like a Rolex Oyster case. It just kind of flows into these crown guards, protecting that threaded crown with that 200-meter water resistance rating. You're getting a secondary crown with that internal rotating compass. It is an absolutely beautiful watch. Now, it was listed at 38 millimeters, but it measures in closer to 39. It wears on the wrist, again, very similarly to a Rolex Oyster case. It's just beautiful, and it's incredibly versatile. And people that think you need to match the color of your watch to the clothes you're wearing, I don't know where they learned to dress, because that's not a rule that I abide by. But I do wear a lot of khakis, a lot of, olive drabs, a lot of muted colors, so I suppose, this will work with that anyway. But it's a much more versatile watch than people give it credit for. Let's just leave it at that. It's a beautiful watch. Also, given to me by Connie. So she has some pretty good taste, if I do say so myself. Man, love that woman. Moving on to the section of the episode that everyone will hit the dislike button. Please don't do that. But this is the dreaded, infamous Seiko Alpinist Blue Dial SPB089, perhaps one of the sloppiest releases in Seiko history. And a lot of people that wanted one couldn't get one, myself included. People get it twisted. They're like, oh, you were talking smack about the watch and then you were able to get your hands on one, so you like it now. No. I made the episode complaining about the sloppy release because I wanted the watch so badly. Look at that blue sunburst dial and how it catches the light. Can you tell how excited I am talking about these Alpinists? Because I love them. Okay, so cool, so nice looking, so functional, so elegant, guys, and tough. Again, it's the same characteristics as the green dial. Threaded crown, secondary internal rotating bezel, 200-meter water resistance rating, Dia-Shock, date complication with the black date wheel. It's just a beautiful watch and incredibly versatile. I'm actually going to wear this today after I stop filming. I love this watch, and it is on a Hadley Roma brown waterproof leather strap. I'll leave a link to it in the description. Such a nice watch, guys, and technically a field watch. Again, by the looks of it, you wouldn't think, oh, field watch, but it is. And boy, is this a beautiful one. Is this the most beautiful field watch? Yes. Moving on to a field watch made by a manufacturer owned by Seiko Epson Corporation, Orient. This is the Orient Defender version 1, which is the version to get, in my opinion, because you're getting that beautiful 6 o'clock date window and that offset 4 o'clock crown. Gorgeous watch, incredibly functional, threaded crown, 100-meter water resistance rating, some decent lume. I don't think it's as good as true LumiBrite, but pretty good lume, honestly. Very visible, interesting dial layout, but very legible at the same time. And I love that matte gray dial worn on a man cave leather custom-made bund strap, which I unboxed and reviewed in Monday's episode. I don't know when you're watching this, but the episode I released before this episode was talking about this bund strap. Special thanks to Man Cave Leather for giving me a bunch of straps. Just a really dynamic dial with the indexes popping off that matte gray. I love the kind of bead blasted finish here with that polished crown. Just looks really nice, and again, highly visible, and paired up with this bund strap, boy, this is my camping watch. This is such a fun, durable, automatic watch. Just a huge fan. Huge fan. I mean, look at it. Date complication, day complication, 24-hour sub-dial. Screw 24-hour markings, right? We got a sub-dial. Just a really cool watch. Huge fan. One of my most recent acquisitions, too. I always wanted one. Finally pulled the trigger on one, and I understand the Orient hype. Love it. And now moving on to my Rolex Explorer II, the first Rolex of the State of the Collection series. That's right, my reference number, 16570. This is one of those interesting pieces people don't initially associate with field watches. I've heard people in my comment section refer to this as a diver, but obviously Rolex has, you know, their deep seas, their sea dwellers, their submariners, their Yachtmaster series. That's more of their seafaring sports watches, whereas the Explorer line has been more catered towards, you know, mountain climbers, spelunkers, people that do rugged kind of exploratory things. I will probably never go spelunking. If you ever find me in a cave, it was not voluntary, okay? Let me put that right now on the record. If I am ever found in a cave, I was not supposed to be there. Anyway, this is a beautiful 40mm oyster case. Those crown guards kind of flow, protecting that threaded crown, at least a 100-meter water resistance rating, sapphire crystal. One of my favorite parts about this watch is that red GMT hand and also that independent hour hand. So you can actually jump the hour hand independently, and that'll help you, you know, if you're traveling somewhere, you can quickly on the fly just shift the hour. Also, it helps a lot when you try to change the date complication. You don't have to cycle all the way around the clock. You can just, bam, move the hour hand around very, very quickly and seamlessly. You can change the date forwards or backwards. Just a very tough watch, and you know, it was important for me in my collection because I had never owned an automatic GMT watch until buying this watch. I think I acquired it October 2018, and I've always wanted a polar dial with the 40mm case. Something about that sizing and that red GMT hand, I just always wanted one. And again, I have a Submariner. Something about this white dial, it's just arguably the most unique watch Rolex has, and I'm not talking about that Leopard Daytona. That takes the cake, but out of the reasonable watches, this is the most unique sports watch that Rolex makes. Always wanted one, and around that time, 2018, I noticed the prices potentially going up. I saw that it was a really undervalued watch from Rolex. I wanted to jump on it, pulled the trigger, and then sure enough, right after I bought mine, the prices skyrocketed. So I lucked out there, and yeah, just easily one of my favorite field watches that a lot of people don't even think of as a field watch. And speaking of field watches that people don't often think of as field watches, G-Shocks, right? This is my DW6600, and I don't know how much more field watchy you can be. I mean, this watch was very often used by the Navy SEALs. This has a big claim to fame being a NASA watch. Not that, you know, if you're going up into space, well, I suppose you could think of out of space as the new field. I don't know, it's just a really badass watch, and this was my dad's. I stole it from him at some point in the 90s, and yeah, it's been ticking ever since. Can we say a digital watch ticks? I don't know, the seconds are moving, so I'm just gonna say it's ticking. My favorite part about this watch, obviously that backlight, so cool. I've never had to get the watch battery replaced, which is crazy because again, this watch has been around since the 90s. I obviously have it on a Wrist Candy Watch Club 2-piece nylon. I'm using J's and K's NATO strap adapters. If you want to see how I did that, click up here and check it out. I don't like the resin G-Shock bands. They kind of give me a rash. And also the one that was on this watch from the 90s started crumpling up, so yeah, I just wanted to replace it with something a little bit more sturdy, a little bit more durable, and a little bit more comfortable for my sensitive skin. So yeah, I mean, what more is there to say about this very, very classic G-Shock? Does everything I need to do, alarms, timers, it's just such a tough, fun watch. Next up, the G-Shock GX56 BB1 King G-Shock. This is an absolutely filthy watch right now. Still has dust on it from my last camping trip. This is on a single piece Zulu strap, also on a J's and K's adapter, and a bull bar from J's and K's. This is one of my go-to pieces because it is solar powered, it's big and bulky and durable, and does even more than the DW6600 because this does have world time, a bunch of different cities. Not that I'll need that when I'm camping, but I mean, if you are camping and you're gonna make camp somewhere, you're gonna be moving stuff around, chopping wood, you want a sturdy watch, and this is easily easily, just a very easy pick for me. But if there was one G-Shock to outdo this when it comes to watches I consider my field watches, it would have to be, yeah, come on, Mudmaster triple sensor. Did I even need to really say that this was on the list? This is obvious. I have it on a Barton canvas strap. I almost said nylon. Look, quick release spring bars, very, very cool. Love to see that. Also on a J's and K's adapter. Shout out to Barton for giving me this strap. I legally, according to FTC guidelines, have to tell you when a company has given me something for free, and Barton gave this to me free of charge, so shout out to you. Yeah, this watch, easy, an SHTF watch. Can't say those words on YouTube or else I'll get demonetized, but also a really great camping field watch. I used this when we were hiking around the Sequoias with Connie. I used the altimeter to see how far up we were. We were about 7,000 feet up, which is crazy, very high altitude. Also, has a compass and everything, so if we do happen to get lost, I can, you know, figure out where we are. And this doesn't have a backlight, but it does have a little light there. Boo! But also very, very good lume. But yeah, people probably might not initially think of this as a field watch because it definitely doesn't have the classic field watch characteristics. But in my collection, this is absolutely a go-to field watch. All right, we are almost done with the first installment of the State of the Collection series, but I have two honorable mentions, okay? I'm calling them honorable mentions because technically they're not field watches. They're actually listed as pilot's watches, but they are in my collection and I use them as field watches. First up, Big Crown Pro Pilot from Oris. I mean, it's listed as a pilot's watch. It has pilot in the name, so I get it. It's technically not a field watch, but I very often have worn this when I go camping, and I kind of look at it as a field watch, so sue me. But I only have two designated pilot's watches in my collection, so instead of kind of making them their own, you know, pilot's watches episode, I'm just gonna throw them in this episode. So Oris Big Crown Pro Pilot, one of my favorite everyday watches. Solida, automatic movement, display case back, threaded crown, at least a 100 meter water resistance rating. Not great lume, okay? This is not the revamped version. This is the original Big Crown Pro Pilot with the not great lume. That's the one drawback. Sapphire crystal, really nice detailing. Again, this is proof that a watch doesn't have to have a whole lot going on to look really nice. You have to really nail it when you're designing a simple watch, and Oris did just that. Beautiful, beautiful watch. On a man cave leather, repurposed vintage Swiss military leather, given to the channel free of charge. Thank you so much, Man Cave Leather. Beautiful olive drab stitching. Just a really fun watch. Kind of military aesthetic, definitely a pilot's watch. Gonna sneak it into this field watch episode, hope you don't mind. And the next watch that's kind of an honorable mention is my Citizen Eco Drive Nighthawk. Now guys, I actually don't have it here in front of me because I gave it to my dad and he loves it. And it's really, really convenient for him because, you know, that Eco Drive movement, you don't need to wind it, you don't need to set it, it just needs light. Artificial or natural. So it's always going for him, and that thing's actually got some pretty nice blue lume. And yeah, it's just a really great watch. I had fun with it, but it has a bunch of cool features like the slide rule and a bunch of stuff to look at, and my dad's really enjoying it. So although it's technically not in my collection anymore, I just wanted to tell it to you because I have made a few episodes about it and people are going to be like, why do you hate Citizen? Well, I don't hate Citizen. In fact, I really love that watch, but I'm not going to steal it back from my dad. I've already stolen all his G-Shocks. All right, guys, and there you have it, my State of the Collection Field Watch Edition. So again, this is part one of a few different episodes. I hope you had a blast. Guys, please check out TimeTellerShop.com, my personal website. There's a few watches still available from the current collection. And please, while you're there, check out the two limited edition t-shirts. You can see them here. They're both very, very cool, and all net proceeds from those shirts are going to be donated to No Kid Hungry. So guys, guys please support the cause. You can find links in the description below to that. And of course, if you're not interested in any of the watches I have at my personal website, check out some really cool watch related gifts. They're in the links in the description below. Those are affiliate links that are going to take you to my Amazon store, and that's a really great way to help us here at the channel. Again, join the channel, channel members. That's how we get the vast majority of our support here. And you, the channel members, you guys are really what's making it possible for us to make this consistent content. So special thanks to you guys. But I love all my 100,000 subscribers. Oh, yep. It's kind of, I don't know. Might have to give PewDiePie a call. There's the new sheriff in town. But guys, all jokes aside, I love every single one of you. Thank you for getting me here to this milestone and beyond. So please like, comment, subscribe, share this with everyone you know. I'm Jory Goodman, the Time Teller, and always remember, I didn't invent time, I just tell it. Stay tuned for part 2.